Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So yesterday we discussed the qualitative and quantitative approach, and we tried to differentiate qualitative and quantitative methods. The first point of difference what we discussed was the inductive process and deductive process. Qualitative methods are of a inductive type of process which are used to formulate any theory, hypothesis, assumptions, concepts. And quantitative methods are deductive type of processes wherein we test the pre-established theories, concepts, hypotheses. We test those concepts, theories, so as to see that whether they work in reality or not. So that was the first point of difference which we discussed. Then we saw that these qualitative methods are subjective, more of a descriptive, but quantitative methods are objective and numerical type. These are text based and quantitative methods are number based. In qualitative methods you will see that depth is more but few respondents. Here more respondents but less depth. Going further, qualitative methods we will see that more of a unstructured or semi-structured response options are given. So these type of qualitative methods make use of unstructured or semi-structured type of surveys or the collection of data by using unstructured or semi-structured response options. So primarily this type of qualitative methods will not have any structured questionnaires. There will not be any structure to that, means there will not be a sequence, there will not be close-ended options. Those will be most of a open-ended as well as semi-structured. There will not be any fixed format or there will not be any fixed sequence of those questions. Whereas in quantitative methods you will see that fixed options are there, fixed response options are there. So quantitative methods you will see that the questionnaires or data collection instruments which we use, those are structured, properly structured. There will be structured questionnaires. Most probably those questions will be close ended and a logical sequence of those questions will be decided, that will be fixed for all the respondents or all the people whom we want to take feedback. The next difference is that in qualitative methods, no direct statistical text can be used. As in qualitative methods, you will see that the most of the data is of a descriptive nature, maybe in the form of words, sentences, or pictures. So applying statistical tools for that type of data is difficult. Whereas in quantitative methods, you will see that statistical methods will be used for analysis. The data which is generated is of a numerical type, and therefore using statistical techniques will be very easy, and therefore statistical tests are used for analyzing quantitative data. Then qualitative data can be valid and reliable. When the qualitative methods can be valid as well as reliable, but it depends largely on the skill and rigor, skill and experience of the researcher. So the validity and reliability of qualitative methods will be dependent on the skill and experience of the researcher, skills, expertise or experience of the researcher. In quantitative methods, you will see that these quantitative methods can be valid as well as reliable, and the reliability and validity of quantitative methods will be dependent on the device or the instrument or questionnaires which we are using for collection of data. Are you getting this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Reliability and validity we have discussed earlier. So that reliability and validity will be dependent on skill, experience or expertise of researcher in case of qualitative methods, It is researcher based. The experience or the skills or expertise of the researcher, the validity and reliability will be based on that only. But in quantitative methods, the reliability and validity will be dependent on the measurement device. It is not researcher centered. It is based on the measurement device which you are using for collection of data, or maybe instrument or questionnaire which you are using for collection of data. It depends on that. In qualitative methods, you will see that the time expenditure is lighter on the planning. So for planning, the time required will be very less and heavier during the analysis phase. So in qualitative methods, you will see that less time will be required for planning, but more time will be required for its analysis, because the data is in descriptive form. Data is in the form of words, sentences, or pictures, and therefore the planning will require very less time, but the analysis of that collected data will require more time in case of qualitative methods. In case of quantitative methods, you will see that the time expenditure will be heavier on the planning. So here the researcher will spend more time on planning, designing the questionnaires, and designing the questions for collecting the data. The researcher will spend more time on planning phase, but less time will be required for analysis, because the data generated will be in the form of numbers. That data can be analyzed very easily by using statistical techniques, statistical softwares. So the analysis will not require much of the time. So here in case of quantitative methods, you will see that more time will be required for planning, but less time will be required for its analysis. Is it clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So few more points we will discuss related to the difference between qualitative methods and as well as those quantitative methods. In qualitative methods, you will see that the less generalized format. So the format of collection of the data, or the format of conducting this research will be less generalized, means less standardized. It will not be fixed. But in quantitative methods, you will see that more generalized formats will be there. More generalized means more standardized questionnaires, more standardized options will be there, more standardized methods of collection of data and analyzing that data will be there. So in qualitative methods, you will see that less generalization will be there in the type of all the formats for collection or analysis of the data. But in quantitative methods, the more generalization you will see in the formats as well as the questionnaires analysis in case of quantitative methods. In qualitative methods, you will see that the different methods which are used for collection of qualitative data or qualitative research, that may include focus groups, in-depth interviews, reviews of documents of various types of themes. So all these are the different methods of collection of data in qualitative methods. We will be discussing these methods in detail in subsequent topic. So these are few basic methods which are being used in qualitative method. And in quantitative techniques, you will see that there are surveys, structured interviews, observations, reviews of records of documents for numeric information. All that will be the types or the methods in quantitative techniques. Getting till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll start discussing the exploratory design now. The exploratory research design. So in this unit, as I told you, that we'll be discussing the various types of research designs that are used to conduct research. So in that, there are different types of research designs, and in that, the first method which we are going to discuss is exploratory research design. So exploratory research design, it suggests by its name itself that it is to explore. Whatever problem is there in our hand, we try to explore it more. We try to get more and more information, detailed information about that particular problem, so as to get insights, so as to get more information, more knowledge about that problem, and that knowledge can be used for conducting further study on that particular problem. So as per this definition, an exploratory design is conducted about a research problem when there are few or no earlier studies to refer to. So when there is no information, no study, earlier study related to a particular problem, any problem which has been faced or which has been occurred for the first time, and there is no earlier studies or no earlier information about that. So then in this case, to get more and more information or knowledge about that particular problem, exploratory research design is used. Exploratory methods are used. In this exploratory design, you will see that the focus is on gaining insights and familiarity for later investigation or undertaken when problems are in a preliminary stage of investigation. So when we start any research, when the problems are in preliminary stage of investigation, so at that time, to understand the problem in clear sense, to understand the different angles of that dimensions of the problems, to get more insights and more knowledge about that problem, these type of exploratory studies can be used. In exploratory study, you will see that there are different techniques are being used for collection of data or getting the information. So these qualitative techniques are most of the times used for exploratory design. For exploratory design, these qualitative techniques like projective techniques are there. Then we have depth interviews, we have experience survey, another is focus groups and observations. So these are the qualitative techniques for this type of exploratory design. So with all this method or all these techniques, we can generate data which can be used for further research. So for exploratory design, you will see that we are going to discuss all these techniques in detail. First technique is your projective techniques. In exploratory design, you will see that the first technique for collection of data or getting the information from the respondent, the first technique is projective techniques. Have you heard of this type of projective techniques? Have you heard? Anyone?
No.
No. So
No, sir.
projective technique is basically, it is indirect method. Isn't it? You will see that people hesitate to share some type of information, personal information, or their views or their perceptions about few things. So projective techniques make use of this type of indirect method, wherein the people are asked questions which are not direct. Those are indirect questions which are asked to the respondents or to the people, so as to get information about what they think about certain things. We can get information about what they feel, what are their views related to few aspects for which if we ask direct questions, they will hesitate to reply or they will resist to answer the questions. There are many such personal questions which if we ask directly, they may not be able to answer, or they will resist or they will hesitate to answer. And therefore these type of projective techniques are used to get the hidden information or to get their hidden views, but with the indirect method. So it is an indirect method and unstructured method. So here also you will see that there is no a proper structure of questions. or there will not be any structure to this method. So indirect and unstructured method of investigation which have been developed by the psychologist. So this method is developed by psychologists to get the hidden information or to get the information or views of the people which in general they are not able to express, in general they hesitate to express in front of others. That type of information their related to their views, related to their attitudes, that can be revealed by using this type of indirect techniques. So use of projection of respondents for inferring about underlying motives, urges or intentions which cannot be secured through direct questioning, as the respondent either resists to reveal them or is unable to figure out himself. So this type of projective techniques are used to get underlying motives, urges, their intentions related to certain things or related to certain products, brands. All that information can be secured through indirect methods. Most of the times people hesitate to talk any negative thing or any personal thing in public. So therefore this type of projective technique can help you to get this type of data or this type of information which generally we are not able to get through direct questioning. These techniques, you will see that these are helpful in giving respondents opportunity to express their attitudes without any personal embarrassment. These techniques helps respondents to project their own attitude and feelings unconsciously on the subject under study. So this makes you clear about what these projective techniques are. So these projective techniques is a psychological technique, or these techniques are being formulated by psychologists to get the information or views of the customers which they are not able to express, or sometimes they are not able to express, or sometimes they are not able to understand their feelings. So such types of information can be revealed by using projective techniques. And what this technique is based on is the projection of their attitudes and feelings unconsciously on the subject under study. So indirectly the questions are asked and the people are asked to project their beliefs or their feelings or attitudes on some subject. That subject may be any person or any object or any product or brand. So these techniques will provide certain questions, indirect questions to the respondents, to which they are required to respond. Those questions are not directly asked to the people involving the respondents, but the respondents are asked indirect questions by taking some other person's name, or by taking name of certain brand or product. They are told to project their feelings or their attitudes or their emotions onto that subject under study. That subject may be product, brand, any person or any object. So if they are asked directly about certain personal question, they will not be able to answer. But if they are asked that XYZ person is there, can you describe him, or can you talk something about his good or bad habits, then they will be able to answer freely, because they are not talking about themselves, they are talking about something else, somebody else. So they will be more free to talk about the other person or other brand or other product. But while doing this, indirectly or unconsciously, they are talking about their own feelings, their own beliefs, their own emotions that can be observed, that can be noted by such types of indirect questioning. Have you got this technique, this projective techniques? Are you getting what we are talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So that projective techniques are indirect methods that we have to understand, and those are helpful to understand the underlying motives, emotions, feelings, attitudes of people towards certain object or certain subject under study, or maybe a product, brand, or person. We try to get their emotions, their attitudes, feelings, and indirectly through this type of indirect method. So in projective techniques, you will see that there are few example of this type of tests I am telling you. There may be many such types of projective techniques. However, we will be talking about few techniques or few tests which are more popular to collect data through this type of projective techniques. The first projective technique is about word association test. And word association test. So this is one of the method technique wherein what is done is the respondents or the people under study, those are given few words and they are told to associate that word with some word which comes first in their mind while after reading that word. That type of word association test is there. Means some word is given, maybe for example any word related to any brand or product or person is given, and people are told to relate that word to another word which comes to their mind in the first place. First of all, which word comes, they are required to communicate that word. They have to tell which word comes to their mind first when they listen to this type of word. So certain words are given. So particular study, for a particular study, researcher may take out certain words to study the response of the people, and those words are given to the respondents, and respondents need to reply on that. Respondents need to tell about which word comes to their mind first when they listen to this word, isn't it? So the words, maybe any word is given, maybe the word is study. So what comes first in your mind when I give you this word Shubham, Akanksha? If I give you this word, correct. Then I may give you the word IMS.
MBA.
Correct.
MBA
That
college.
means okay. So that means the respondents are given some words, and they are required to tell that word which comes to their mind first after listening to that word. So through that, the researcher is able to understand how these respondents or these people under study are associating the words which we are giving them. So what are their beliefs, what are their emotions, what are their feelings, what they think about these words, that can be revealed indirectly by using this type of technique. So this technique is called as word association test. So this word association test is used in that there may be as many as respondents, like 15, 20, and they are given number of words, and they are required to associate that word to another word which comes to their mind first. And the researcher, by analyzing this behavior of the people, analyzing the responses of the respondents, by providing this type of technique, the researcher will analyze what time they take to answer the word in their mind, how much time it takes. Plus they may also study how many words how many people are associating the word with same kind of response, or same kind of answer, or same type of another word is coming to the other people's mind also at the same time. So what is the frequency of that? So that is the type of study which can that type of analysis can be done by the researcher afterwards on the basis of the responses which are generated through word association test. So this is about word association test. The another test which is also a qualitative technique under projective techniques, which is called as completion test. So completion test means the respondents are told to complete something. So a respondent may be given a half sentence and he is told to complete that, or maybe sometimes the respondents are given half story. They are told a half story and they are told to complete it. So by doing this also, the researcher is able to get the information or the underlying motives, attitudes, feelings, emotions of the people through this type of technique. So this completion test will be about giving certain clues to the customers, and on the basis of the clues they have to talk about what they feel. Maybe a certain sentence is given, half sentence is given, and they are told to complete it, or a half story is given and they are told to complete that story in their own way. So everybody's answer will be different. Everybody's way of completing the half sentence will be different. So everybody's answers to this technique completion test will be different based on what they think, what they believe, what are their hidden motives, what are the underlying attitudes. So based on all these, the answer of the different people will be different, and researcher is interested to understand the different views of different people based on the responses which are generated through this test. He will check the similarities in the responses, as well as he will see the differences of responses given through this test. Getting this test? Completion test.
Yes, sir.
So then there is a third test which is similar test, which is called as a construction test. So construction test means here the respondents are told to construct or build something or to complete something. So in this type of construction test, for example, the respondents may be given a picture and the respondents are told to create a story based on that picture. The people are told to construct or build a story on the basis of that picture. So that is called as construction test. So depending upon his own beliefs, his own attitudes, his own thoughts and opinions, the people may construct or build a different story. Everybody's story will be different, isn't it? And the story which everybody is depicting or is telling, so that will be based on what they believe, what they think, what are their emotions, what are their thoughts, isn't it? So the analysis of that data will also be done accordingly, finding out the different similarities or differences in responses what the respondents are giving. Isn't it? This construction test is also simple. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So these projective techniques which we have discussed, projective techniques will be of various types. Few projective techniques we have discussed, like word association test, completion test, or construction test. So going ahead, there can be an in-depth interview. In-depth interview, by its name itself, it suggests that it is in-depth, detailed. In-depth means detailed. So one-to-one basis, on personal basis, the respondent is asked questions related to the thing to be investigated by the researcher. So in in-depth interview, it is important to start with a good literature search, but at some point it is desirable to talk to person who are well informed in the area being investigated. So in the area being investigated, or for the particular problem which is there in hand for investigation, those people who are more informed or more knowledgeable about that particular problem are taken for in-depth interview. Maybe for example, if we are talking about some problem related to sales, the knowledgeable person or the person who is close contact with that aspect, or who is well informed about that particular area of action or area being investigated, that person may be a wholesaler, a retailer, a marketer, or a salesperson who is in close contact with that particular problem. So he is the better person to be interviewed in depth. Therefore, such a person is taken as a subject for study in this type of technique, which is called as depth interview, in-depth interview. So the person who has knowledge about that particular problem, or who is associated with that problem, or who is in close contact with the area under study, he is taken for investigation, and in-depth interview is conducted. And in this in-depth interview, what we do is, these people could be professionals or persons outside the organization. This, as I told you, these people may be within the organization or maybe outside of the organization, but they need to be directly or indirectly associated with that particular area of investigation or area of problem. So here we don't need any questionnaire. In this type of depth interview, you will see that questionnaire is not being used. It is a indirect method, or it is unstructured method of collecting the information. This approach should be highly unstructured so that the participant can give divergent views. Divergent views means his views on different aspects, his all the opinions or variety of views which he has related to that particular problem. The in-depth interview, you will see that it is highly unstructured. So there is no proper structure of questions is provided for in-depth interview. What is done is, researcher will interview that particular respondent on the basis of the problem which is there in hand, and he will go on asking the questions which he feels appropriate for that particular situation, which can answer that particular problem, or which can serve the purpose of the problem. So he may ask questions as per his requirement, or whatever he feels appropriate. As per that, he will go on discussing with the respondent. The in-depth interview will be more of a informal talk. So as per the situation, or as per the respondent's response to different questions, this researcher will ask different questions in a sequence which he feels appropriate. So he will ask certain question first which he wants appropriate, then after that what questions need to be asked, he will decide based on the response of the respondent. If he feel that the respondent is not responding to the questions, so more of a informal questions or general or lighter questions he will ask in the beginning, and as the respondent is opening, he may ask certain questions for which he may resist. So as he starts opening, the researcher may ask some direct questions or some type of questions on which he wants more information. So based on the response of the respondent, he will decide the sequence and the type of question to be asked. So it is highly unstructured interview, wherein the participants will be able to give you divergent views, diversified views, all type of views which he has, or whatever underlying motives, attitudes, or the views he has, can be revealed through this type of depth interview. So these type of depth interviews are widely used to tap the knowledge and experience of individuals with information strongly related to the situation or opportunity in hand. So as we discussed, these depth interviews are widely used in this type of qualitative techniques to get the information from experienced people, or those people who are closely associated with that particular problem. And to get this information, what we do is particularly we conduct an in-depth interview which is highly unstructured. There is no particular format or structure or sequence to the questions which are being asked. More of an informal type of interview it is there, and this is to get the information or views of the people related to certain problem, or to get understanding about certain aspects or certain opportunity which can be seen by the company. So it can be this type of in-depth interview may be conducted to study more about particular problem, or maybe a particular opportunity can also be understood very well through this type of in-depth interviews. Is it clear till now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any queries related to what we have discussed till now?